But yeah, this may be an unfair question because you're the mayor and I'm just somebody who's lucky enough to live in Cambridge and work in Boston. Can you imagine the day that this happens? You do what you are legally empowered to do, and you see military vehicles driving around the city, National Guards people, potentially troops. And is there not a piece of you that feels that I don't have enough, I hate to use the expression weapons at my disposal, but you know what I mean, to make this not happen? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a lot. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories, these crazy stories twice a day, every day. Now, y'all, today we're going to talk about your girl, Michelle Wu. She was recently on Boston Public Radio. And I just want to point out to you all one of the most deceitful, deceptive video clips that you're going to see in quite some time. Either that, okay, that's if we assign a motive, or if these people just don't know what they're talking about. And the funny thing is, Michelle Wu says, we don't want to scare the people. We don't want our people to be terrified and afraid from Trump's activities. But she, here in this clip, you're going to see her either purposefully or negligently, mistakenly confuse two very separate and distinct concepts, two very separate and distinct branches of government, of force in the government. And, you know, I can only imagine that they did this on purpose in order to confuse and scare people. And if not, then again, it's highly negligent. So first, what we're going to do, let me hop into the first clip and I'm going to see if you can figure out on your own what goes wrong. Listen very closely to this clip and tell me, can you figure out what is wrong here? Let's take a look.
We're talking about what might happen, Mayor Wu, if the National Guard comes to Boston. Todd Lyons, who's a big deal in ICE, I think he's the number 2 guy in ICE.
Acting director.
Yeah, he told Howie Carr on the radio show that he was going to, quote unquote, flood the zone in Boston. What do we do if they, what are you going to do if they show up?
Okay, so what did she say? She said Lyons, the number 2 guy in ICE, said they're going to flood the zone. What are you going to do if the National Guard shows up? Okay, are you able to pick that out? Just do you hear what's wrong with that question? If not, let me go ahead and go into a little bit more of the evidence of what's happening here and how this, in my opinion, it seems like a deliberate, but again, or at best, it's just a negligent person not knowing what she's talking about, but they're all going to participate. Wu's going to participate. The male co-host is going to participate, and the female co-host has already laid the ground for the confusion. So let's go ahead and let's go a little bit further. Take a look at these. Listen to what Lyons said and look at a quick news report, and then we'll come right back. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
Podcast host Howie Carr, yesterday speaking to the acting ICE director, talks about ICE flooding Boston again. It's ramping up the war of words.
Are you going to surge the city of Boston and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts like the District of Columbia is being surged?
We're definitely going to, as you've heard the saying, flood the zone, especially in sanctuary jurisdictions. And obviously, Boston and Massachusetts decided to stay, that they wanted to stay sanctuary.
Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons is responding after Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu defied calls from the federal government to comply with their immigration policies. Lyons said during an interview yesterday that the plans to flood Boston with ICE officials. The U.S. Department of Justice sent letters out last week giving Boston and other sanctuary cities until August 19th to submit a plan of compliance. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu released her written response Tuesday morning, stating that the courts have consistently held local public safety laws like the Boston Trust Act. No word yet if the White House plans to take away the city's federal funding.
So there you have it. You have Lyons, who's the number 2, according to this woman co-host. Lyons is the number 2 in ICE. Lyons is the number 2 in ICE. And she says, what are you going to do if the National Guard shows up? Now, we should all know by now, y'all, that ICE is a law enforcement. It's an immigration law enforcement agency. ICE has the power to arrest, to detain, etc., right? Even investigate in some sense. ICE is an immigration law enforcement agency. So Lyons, who is an ICE official, says we're going to flood Boston with ICE. Okay, so the woman co-host, she says that Lyons says he's going to flood the city with ICE. So what are you going to do if the National Guard shows up? Hold up, Lyons is not a National Guard. That's military. Lyons is not a National Guard official. Lyons did not say we're going to flood the zone with the military. Okay, so did you see how watch this again, and then we're going to continue.
We're talking about what might happen, Mayor Wu, if the National Guard comes to Boston. Todd Lyons, who's a big deal in ICE, I think he's the number 2 guy in ICE.
Acting director.
Yeah, he told Howie Carr on the radio show that he was going to, quote unquote, flood the zone in Boston. What do we do if they, what are you going to do if they show up?
So Michelle Wu, she could say, well, let's be clear. Lyons is talking about ICE. And if they show up, this would be our response. They operate nationally. They have a constitutional prerogative to go to any place in the United States at any time on immigration business. So this is how we will react. Now, the National Guard, that's the military. So they may or may not be able to come into our city. There's a whole nother set of rules of engagement for the National Guard. Now, do you think that Wu is going to make this distinction, or do you think she's going to play along with this game and confuse the two different organizations, ICE, which is law enforcement, National Guard, which is military, distinctly not law enforcement? Do you think Wu is going to do you think she's going to be honest and make the distinction, or is she just going to play along with the game and confuse the two so that she can alarm and scare her own constituents? Let's take a look.
We are following what's happening in other cities around the country very closely. Unfortunately, we have seen a little bit of what it would look like if that should come to pass, and that this federal administration is willing to go beyond the bounds of constitutional authority and federal law to try to activate National Guards, even when local communities aren't asking for it and don't want it. So there's an important legal piece to that, and we are reviewing all the court cases now and getting ready should it come to that. And we'd be working very closely with community members to ensure people know what's happening and that this is not something that is needed or wanted or legally sound.
So now we have an opportunity for the male co-host to interject. Maybe he will bring some clarity to this conversation that, hey, hold up, aren't we confusing two distinct branches or departments or organizations in the government? So while ICE has the complete constitutional prerogative to go anywhere in the United States at any time behind immigration enforcement, the National Guard does not have that same prerogative. So do you think that this gentleman, is he going to interject to bring clarity for his listeners, or is he just going to add fuel to the fire? And again, either out of ignorance, not knowing the difference, or out of sheer malfeasance, act as if there is no difference. I'm going to let you guess. Let's go ahead and take a look.
But yeah, this may be an unfair question because you're the mayor and I'm just somebody who's lucky enough to live in Cambridge and work in Boston. Can you imagine the day that this happens? You do what you are legally empowered to do, and you see military vehicles driving around the city, National Guards people, potentially troops. And is there not a piece of you that feels that I don't have enough, I hate to use the expression weapons at my disposal, but you know what I mean, to make this not happen? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
So there you have it. He tees up Michelle Wu to continue with this purposeful or negligent confusing of two different organizations in the government, their constitutional rights to move across the country and carry out their duties, etc. Y'all, I on some level, I'm trying to serve as a person here to clarify things for my listeners. Some of these videos get 10,000 views. Some of these videos get 200, 300, 400, even up to 500,000 views. I'm trying to show y'all that, you have to be a thinking person. You have to be a thinking person because these people will purposefully or negligently mislead you. Double check everything. Double check what I say. Double check what everybody says, because these people do not have your best interest at heart. And I think that this clip shows that either they don't know what they're talking about, or they do know what they're talking about and they're purposefully deceiving you. So y'all, let me summarize, and let me, I guess, put an end to all of this with this. There's nothing that Michelle Wu or any mayor can do to stop ICE from coming into their city and arresting, detaining people who are in the country without permission. That is, again, a constitutional prerogative of the federal government. Wu can't do anything but watch. Wu can't do anything but complain. Wu can't do anything but cry about it, okay? That's the only thing she can do. Now, ICE does have the responsibility to carry out their responsibilities, their prerogatives in a fair, humane, and constitutionally just way, right? And in as much as they're doing that, there's nobody who can stop them on the state level. In as much as they're not doing that, they need to be held to account, okay? So I just wanted to clear that up for y'all. And also, again, reiterate, Mayor, they're asking her, what are you going to, there's nothing she can do to stop ICE. Now, there are some things she may be able to do to counteract a deployment of the National Guard, particularly in the courts. But those are two different conversations, and these people are acting like as if it were one conversation. So y'all, consider yourselves informed, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this. Do you think they did this on purpose, or do you think this was an accident, that they're confusing these two different organizations? Let me know down in the comments, but before you do, y'all, please stop. Hit the share button. Share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. Share it out, y'all. People need to know about this. People need to know. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. For my people with a retirement, go to our link at Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. Get the information on protecting your retirement from these people who want to take it and give it to people who are in the country without permission, y'all. Come on. Don't let them do that to you. Also, call my people at Augusta Precious Metals at 844-651-8334. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.
There's the act of what that would mean, just the sheer violation of rule of law and the tenets of our democracy that we're built on. And then there's the strategy or the motivation behind that of why is this president trying to do that in so many cities all at the same time, creating this chaos. And it really feels that either it is just part of let's try to provoke something to actually turn this false narrative closer to reality, right? The constant push that cities are dangerous, cities are unclean, cities are horrible places because people look different from each other and might hail from different countries of origin at whatever point in their family tree. And we need to, because that's not true in reality, because we don't have real proof that we can point to that narrative that enables us to sort of lord it over them, we're going to try to create that by causing some kind of confrontation or provocation. Or the other agenda seems to be a real testing of the boundaries of how much power can be grabbed, how much authoritarian action will be tolerated at step by step in this country. And if it comes fast enough and strong enough and in the right places, starting with the right marginalized communities in certain ways. This never was just about immigrants in this country. This never was just about the trans community or LGBTQ residents or Boston or any individual community. Certainly this is meant to isolate and intimidate individual communities from speaking out. But at the end of the day, our democracy is based on principles that the city of Boston started. The reason why we have a democracy is because Bostonians decided we weren't going to let someone come in from high and come down and try to tell us how to run our communities and how to take care of our neighbors. That is why our laws are written how they're written, because we had to stand up once 250 years ago and take care of that situation. And those remain the laws today. I have faith that Bostonians and people in our communities will understand what the truth is, understand what the law is, and will continue to push me and all of our leaders to speak out forcefully and defend us against this slide towards losing our country.
You do think they're coming, though. When this is, you don't think that his threat to flood the zone, Lyons, the ICE guy, is an idle threat. It's just a matter of time?
Look, I mean, there's a lot of rhetoric out there. The ICE director also said loudly and immediately after we announced our executive order that we would be using the Freedom of Information Act to demand basic information on who's been detained, why, where, what tactics. And they said right away, oh, we're going to share all of that with you. It will be embarrassing for Boston to see how many quote unquote criminals we've taken off the streets. It's been 2 months. We've gone back and forth. We still have nothing from them. So on the one hand, it's impossible to predict. Tariffs are on, tariffs are off, tariffs are being negotiated. Everything is chaos and up in the air. And I think in this moment, however we got here, every mayor of every major city is having to take preparations for the National Guard coming in against their will.